Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome, livestock friends, to this edition of Before the Bid podcast. And on this one, we're going to go out to Palestine, Illinois, and we're going to talk some Angus cattle. We're going to talk to a farm that they've got some bulls in the sale coming up. Also, they've got some females coming up. We're going to talk with the president of the Illinois Angus Association and a guy that's kind of worked through the ranks there. Started out as a director around there, and then he became secretary and worked his way up through those seats, and now is just about ready to give up his presidency here in the Illinois Angus Association. 2 kids and his wife there on the farm, and started it with his dad, and so we're going to talk about that. And we are going out to York Farms again in Palestine, Illinois. We're going to talk with Joel York, and they are going to have a sale here on Sunday, March 27th, and that sale is going to start at 1 o'clock, and again, it is going to be there on the farm at Palestine, Illinois. It's going to be their 9th sale, so no stranger to the sales there at Palestine. And so, Joel, we've had a great visit already, and can't wait to get this thing going, and appreciate you joining me here on this podcast.
Well, thanks a lot, Andy. I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. So, Joel, we've like I said, we visited, and, you know, we have a few of these stories that we start out with, and how did these herds start, and how do these operations start? And yours kind of starts about like a lot of them, doesn't it?
Yes, it sure does, Andy. As a kid growing up, my dad and grandfather had Angus and commercial Hereford cattle, ran about 40 head of pairs, and like everybody typically there through the 60s and 70s and 80s, you know, fed out a few and sold a few feeders, sold a few fat calves, and, you know, went on about their business. But I guess it was about 96 would have been the first purebred Angus female that my dad would have bought for me there in the fall of 96, and turned around and bought the second one there in the spring through the Wabash Valley Angus sale there in Harrisburg there from Jim and Kevin Rose. Mm-hmm. And I guess just kind of took off and went from there. Doesn't seem like it's been that long ago, but yet that's a lot of years when you think about it.
Right. Do you remember who the first one was from?
The first heifer would have came from Forsyth Land and Cattle up here at Marshall, just to the north of us.
Okay. Started out in some good programs then.
Yeah, you bet.
So what's gone on since then, and now that you guys are having your own sale?
Well, we started out just with a few purebred females, working through things. We were fortunate enough to work with a very progressive group of breeders, and we're part of the Land of Lincoln breeders sale that was up there at Congerville and also at Clinton, Illinois over the years, and had a really good run with that, as well as participating in you know, back in the days of the old Illinois Spotlight sale, and you know, more recently the Wabash Valley Angus sale and the Illinois Angus Futurity things there through those consignment sales, and as well as private treaty, you know, off and on. But we really our goal that Dad and I really wanted to get to was just wanted to try to be able to do our own sale, and that's really kind of where the foresight for this idea came from. Really was try to get to that point.
Consigning in all of those others and growing enough, and you know, why not have it at our own place? But I'm assuming you still put cattle in all those other sales as well.
Absolutely. We try to as much as we can. You know, sometimes it runs into calendar wise with a conflict, especially, you know, Wabash Valley has their sale the weekend before ours, so it's a little tough to participate in some of those with trying to get everything done sometimes. So we haven't been able to do that here in recent memory. Mm-hmm. You know, we've always put a lot of value on those, and that's like anything. It's always a value of, you know, that we put it back on relationships with people and reaching out to making those contacts. Right. And the more groups that you're in, and, you know, when we were smaller breeders and didn't have didn't have enough numbers to have our own sale. We needed those kind of sales to
Right.
do it and work through and kind of try to learn things. One thing you learn is the right way to do things, but sometimes you have to learn the right way by doing it wrong first, you know?
Right. Right. Learning through those, and yeah, like you said, making those contacts, and selling those cattle around the state, and then, hey, we're going to have our own, and I'm going to guess you saw a lot of those people come to your first couple and continuing on.
We did. We were really overwhelmed with the crowd and the interest we had right from the get-go. We were apprehensive about it because you didn't want to change things up from the standpoint of, there's a lot of guys that like to buy their bulls by visiting with you a couple hours on a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
And that's great. And we still encourage people to come and do that. And we were really fortunate and very blessed that a lot of those customers stayed with us and worked with us through the sale process, and very thankful for that.
You and Dad still, Robert, still on the farm together every day?
You bet. Yep. We do everything predominantly together, just working through different aspects of it. Dad's here every day all the time, and I'm here every day all the time. And when I'm not here, I can tell you he's doing more of the work than I am when we're gone to these shows and sales and different things like that. So we don't ever want to forget about everybody that's doing the stuff when we all have to run around to kind of make everything work,
Right. Always got to have those people that are willing to stay home.
Absolutely. Yep. And we've had a lot of good help over the years, and with different things, and you don't want to leave out mom and the wife and everybody, because we all know it takes a village to get everything done, and it's whatever, whenever, however, just to get it all done, just like everybody is.
Well, why don't you take a minute and give all those a shout out?
Sure. We get work through things all the time. The sale is actually right there on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually at my folks' farm, and that's the address that's there in the sale catalog.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my two sisters and I were raised, and they all pitch in, and their husbands and kids are all there the day of the sale, clerking and doing the refreshments, and
Mm-hmm.
we pass all that stuff off to all those people that are always willing to help, and we're sure always very appreciative of that, for sure.
Right.
Just takes everybody doing all those things that don't involve the day-to-day stuff of the cattle themselves,
Right.
As far as immediate family, my wife and two boys, Cody and Brady, are 11 and 17 now, and have a very, very vested interest in and really like all the parts of the industry. And when they're not in sports and doing this and doing that, they're right out there checking cows and doing all that stuff with us, and go with grandpa or go with me and go do this and that, and we just kind of divide and conquer, and it's really enjoyable for all of us. We have our differences of opinions, like working with every family, but that's just part of it, and you got to enjoy that too. So
Brady and Cody and wife Missy, and now one of them's a golfer. Is that right?
yes, both the boys had a really, really very fortunate year as far as athletics. Cody was a part of the fifth in state overall golf team in IHSA this year, so that was a really cool experience for those boys, and just to see all that. You want your kids to succeed in doing anything, and to be able to compete at that level, being from a really small town, was really pretty neat.
Right.
So, and then, after Cody's golf season, Brady kept going, and he was fortunate enough that his baseball team made it all the way to the state level in their divisions also.
Oh, wow.
So we rolled from baseball straight into golf, and with Brady from baseball for school ball all the way through August, it was a lot of months of baseball.
Right. Yeah.
With them. So they had both couple very busy, very, very successful years with other avenues, and that's neat to see. We all want our kids to do well, and we thank all those people that help with those programs and reach out with them too, because it's a thankless job, to whether you're running a cattle show or a golf team or a baseball team. It's always need to remember to appreciate those people putting their time and effort into that too.
Right. And the boys do show, and we can kind of get into that as well. And when they're not playing sports, why they got to be in the barn and working. And you guys have been showing, having some success.
We've been very fortunate to have some good success, and predominantly, I mean, the boys, the older they've gotten, the more they do predominantly on their own. We row crop about 1,500 acres. That's predominantly Dad and I, and a couple other guys that seasonally help us and getting everything done. And when it comes to the daily rinsing and the working and and the hair working and those kind of things. It's been pretty well put on them a lot, especially as Cody's gotten older to do things and work through that. Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have a fair amount of success for very small fish in the sea, I guess you could say.
Right. Let's talk a little about that success. You guys had a good summer.
We really did. Had probably, I guess, as good a junior nationals as someone could ever hope to have. And we started out with the Bred and Owned show, and we're fortunate enough to have Brady's heifer be selected as the 3rd overall at the National Junior Show in the Bred and Owned, and that just kind of makes you stop and kind of blows you away when you really stop and think about it.
Right.
So we were very fortunate, very blessed with that. We started into Cody was a part of the team fitting contest for Illinois, along with Tyler Musgrave and both the Miller boys, Alan and Teresa's 2 boys, Will and Adam. Boys actually were the supreme champion overall fitting team to junior nationals also.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really a cool experience for them and to get worked through that. So yeah, we then had a couple other class winners or 2 along the way out there. Kind of our goal has always been, you go to that national junior show and, if you make the sift and make your top cut, boy, that's a good day.
Right.
With the quality of cattle at that, that's a good day. To have a week like that, it really makes you stop and think and be thankful for it. That's for sure.
Right. And give you some more goals for this next year as well.
Oh, absolutely. As dads and parents and breeders, we're always like, gosh, and we kind of joked a little bit coming home of, being Brady's 3rd year, and Brady actually ended up with his heifer that was 3rd overall because she kind of picked him.
Oh, yeah.
Her attitude corresponded well with his, and, when you're 10, 11 years old, that's what it's all about, so you go with it,
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing them, and, we were there at Futurity together right across the aisle, and what a set of cattle you guys had. So,
thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Let's get back a little to the cow herd, and you guys been breeding, of course. You started in '96 with the purebreds, and what are some of your goals? What are some of your breeding philosophies? What did you guys set out to do, and what are you planning in the future?
Well, we've always, first and foremost, a guy goes back to with touching on these bulls. We can all remember going with our dads and granddads and picking out bulls as kids, and everybody wanted to talk about tops and rear ends and those kind of things and good footed, and I think we still have to keep all those things at the foremost no matter what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, at the end of the day, all these things, whether they're purebred, commercial, or what, are going to stand on a scale, and they got to weigh something
mm-hmm.
to make this deal work. So, as far as the performance lines and the bull lines there, we've always tried to keep that at the foremost of our breeding program, and have been fortunate enough to own some females and raise some females that have kind of done that pretty well, really, over the years. On the female side of it, we do put a lot of heavy emphasis on the cow herself. She's got to get it done, got to do things that she needs to do in a very eye-appealing package that's not only hopefully profitable for us, but also profitable for our customers down the road. That's the name of the game, right?
Right.
That being said, we do live in the Midwest, and as the boys have gotten older, we've bought a few of those show heifers. We've had pretty good luck to partner with some other folks that Andy, with Four Corners down there
mm-hmm.
at St. Francisville, and as well as Johnson Farms there in Kentucky. I know you've done
mm-hmm.
some programs with Reese and things in the past, and as well as some other operations around, but just kind of really tried to have a few of those things to offer too. But we've always kind of just took the philosophy of you've got to really focus on, where your market is and what your customer base is looking for and asking. And, we have a lot of those different things with a lot of different avenues here based on geography and where we live,
Right. Yeah, it's real easy to sell bulls in Illinois, right?
Yeah, if we could just take that river and get it on the other side of the state, no offense, buddy, but it'd do me a lot more good if it was between you and I.
I'm with you.
We have been very fortunate, though. We've been able to build a fairly decent bull market over there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more cows from my house towards yours than there is 100
mm-hmm.
mile the opposite direction.
Right.
Going that way. And we've been pretty fortunate to work with a lot of progressive commercial cattlemen over in that neighborhood that have have been really good to us over the years and have worked with us now several years, year in and year out to really kind of get them where they want to go, and very, very appreciative for those kinds of opportunities as well.
Right. And for those that may not know, where is Palestine, Illinois?
Well, when you come across the easiest landmark you're going to get to is on the Illinois-Indiana line, right where I-70 crosses the line. You'll be back exactly 20 miles straight south of there.
Okay.
Or we are just exactly about 45 miles straight north of Evansville, right up the line on 41 up that way, too.
Okay.
We're tucked over here, south central Illinois, over here on the state line, but that's we all work with where we're at, and that's it's not that bad to get there. There's just not a lot of interstates to it, but it's right. sure accessible north, south, east, or west. That's for sure.
Right, and a little more in the cow country than up in the northern parts of both states.
Well, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of this area, especially from here south, that there's a lot more cow numbers than going a couple hundred miles to the north, where there's a lot more predominantly row crop, for sure.
Right. Well, as I mentioned, you guys are going to have a sale. Going to be on March 27th. Going to be there at the farm at Palestine. And before we get into these cattle, where can they get some more information on this sale? Maybe they can stop this, pause it, follow along with us in a sale catalog, or look at it online. Where can they find some of this information from?
Sure, you bet, Andy. This year we went to the bigger style catalog, which would allow us to have the live videos posted live with it on the Angus.org website, as well as the live EPD feature that ties in with that. So when they go onto there and search those sale books through the Angus.org, if they click on ours, there'll be a video of every lot available in there. We do a video sale, so one of the neat things that goes along with that is there is live video footage of all of those cattle of every lot that sells. We also have our website, YorkFarmsAngus.com, on the for sale page there, and that information will be up there. Also, it's pretty well a carbon copy of a lot of those things that are available on the Angus website, but those will be reached out there too. And we try to have a pretty good presence on Facebook and Instagram also, with a lot of that social media kind of thing to try to just cover, quite a few of the bases and reach out there to as many folks as we can.
Yeah, if you go onto the Angus Association, I was on there looking through the catalog, and this little thing at the top's popping up videos, and so you go up, you click on that, and there's all the videos right there on the right side, and I'm going to follow right along as we talk about these guys.
Yeah, they'll sit right there in lot order for you, and kind of jumps out and grabs your attention, and sure a pretty neat feature that they've come up with for us to kind of make it a little more user friendly, as they say, all the way through.
Right, and we'll give a shout out here. You've got some good pictures and some good videos from a guy.
Yeah, Adam Swigert has done our work for us right from the get go, and they do an outstanding job, and his team that works through those. I mentioned our social media stuff. Emily Adcock works with him really close with that, and she handles our social media stuff for us, and works with Adam doing a lot of those kind of things, and as well as Bailey Edinburgh for years, and they've always been great to work with. And anything I need that I'm technologically handicapped in trying to figure out, one of those guys can sure get it done for us. And Adam's sure been good to work with over the years for us, and we sure appreciate all his efforts there too.
If you can't make the sale, but you can see the videos, you can see the pedigrees, you can see all those things on the catalog. If you can't make the sale, that's not a problem. You can still bid.
You bet. We will have Brooklyn Graham here with live auctions. She's been here a number of years now, and she typically handles all the video work for us there that day, and everything will be live online, just as if you were sitting here. And you can still do things the old-fashioned way and pick up the telephone and reach out to if you're not comfortable with that. And a lot of things, a lot of people aren't comfortable with that, and that's okay too, but we sure try our darndest to be accommodating however anybody's comfortable with it.
Got to give Brooklyn a shout out. What a sweet young lady to work with, and does a great job and works her tail end off.
She really, really does. She's always came the day before and was setting everything up and coordinating it all. And I'll send her a sale order, and she's reaching out with emails and working through things. Hey, where's this? Hey, where's that? You forgot to send me this.
Right.
All those kind of things. She ends up all those guys doing all this stuff for us end end up making us look pretty good, or as good as they can for what they have to work with in the end, I guess. Let's put it that way.
She'll also probably, she has done it before, and I would assume she's going to do it again. She'll get this podcast video put up there on your page on live auction, so you can do it all right there as well. See the podcast video and check out the pedigrees and everything else right there on live auctions.
Yeah, that's sure a good, worthwhile service with where we're at today. And, everybody doing everything, everybody's busy. You need to sure make every effort to be as accommodating as you can for folks that can't get here or really just prefer to handle their business that way,
Right.
And she's sure always been a great asset to us in that regard.
Right. Got a couple other guys, well-known guys that you can call and talk to as well. If you say, hey, I like this video, tell me about this bull. You got a couple sale consultants there that they can talk to along with sale managers.
Absolutely. With those guys, with Grant Beadle and Jeremy Stone through there, they work really closely with our program. And, they're in these cattle several times a year. They know the ins and outs, and every one of them will tell you straight up their best honest opinion, and that's why we list them in there, because that's how we want everything to be represented, just to the best of everybody's ability, and hopefully everybody go on and be successful, from here forward with them. So Casey Gents, of course, from American Angus, that's our regional manager, will be here. And I tell you what a resource Casey is for all of us.
Oh, my.
As Angus breeders, we sure didn't leave much left to be desired when we got Casey to step into that spot, as he just does an excellent job and is a very, very good resource for us as breeders and commercial cattlemen also. Just very approachable, very knowledgeable, and if he doesn't have the answer, he'll darn sure go out of his way to get it for you. Right. That's for sure.
Right. You're exactly right.
Then Roger Holstrom there, we are other ring man there. Roger, just what a stand-up guy. Just well respected all through all aspects, whether you're talking about the pig industry or through the cattle industry in the Midwest. Just a very well-known, upstanding guy that's been with us from the get-go, and we're always thankful to have Roger with us too.
And the other guys with you, get them all in there. Get Jerry Lehman in there as your auctioneer as well.
Yeah, we better start at the top of the list with Jerry too. We've had a very, very good relationship with Jerry. When we were in some of those other consignment sales, we had talked on and off, back and forth with the Hall of Fame and with other consultants as well, and auctioneers trying to decide if we were really going to take the leap, and try this deal. Jerry stopped Dad and I one year at the Illinois Beef Expo, and he said, hey, just want you guys to know, if you ever decide to take the leap, I'd sure be honored if you'd have me sell your sale. I tell you, being small guys that didn't really know what we were getting into, that meant a lot with us. Right. And Jerry's been a very good partner, very good resource, and we sure appreciate all the work and the relationships we've built with him off and on over the years. That's really what it's all about.
A couple other things that you guys offer, and then we're going to get into these bulls, but you guys offer some discounts. You guys provide some services as well that I think we better tell everybody.
Sure, you bet. We stand behind these bulls 100%. We do the best we can to ensure everything's going to be good in terms of a full BSE, perform semen test, the whole 9 yards. We will board these bulls until May 1st. But we do ask that, everybody kind of take some insurance on those bulls or be willing to assume the risk with us. We realize there's a lot of guys that don't have the ability to keep those bulls and kind of manage them before they get ready to turn them out. And that's really the reason why we do that. We don't want anybody to say, hey, I couldn't buy a bull there because I couldn't take him home. Don't want to put anybody in that position at all, and try to entice people to go ahead and take them home if they do have that ability with that little bit of a discount for that sale day take home there. So all that's highlighted there on page 1 of the catalog.
Right. And if I buy 3 or more, I get a discount as well.
If you buy 3 or more, you're going to be discounting $100 off all 3 of them. You bet.
That's great.
You bet. And we have had guys take advantage of that, and with those bigger sire groups and the group of half and maternal sibs that we've had off and on over the years, guys really like to see that uniformity, and that's great for us. We really work with those guys that want to really kind of lay the set of uniformity into those feeder calves.
You've got enough of these bulls in different sire groups that those guys can do that and stay right in there and stay closely aligned with the genetics.
Exactly. Yep. We've got to keep moving forward all the time. With seed stock producers, we can't just keep using the same sires, over and over and over. But, when the guy kind of needs to have enough volume there in uniformity and consistency to allow guys for those opportunities if that fits their operation.
Right. Well, let's get into these bulls. You ready, Joel?
All right.
open the catalog right there. This Lot 1 bull, just a big, stout, nice bull here, the Deer Valley Growth Fund, son.
You bet. Those growth fund cattle have been really good for us here in our program, and this guy sure is a very good example of that. Just a lot of performance, a lot of size and shape and scale in those bulls. They've always been really good footed here and really big scrotal bulls, just excellent in terms of fertility. A lot of those cattle, this guy included, are getting up in that 40 centimeter range in terms of scrotal a year. And that's where we want to be, get up there and hopefully have those things done. This guy was produced from a cow that was actually 12 years old when she did that. That is her natural calf right there. So that speaks for the longevity and the fertility and the ability in that cow family to go along with that guy. But yeah, just a really, really good, very impressive individual with a really good set of genomics to go along with it,
Mm-hmm. And the Lot 2 is a growth fund as well.
Exactly. Yep. Just a really nice, deep, soggy made stockman kind of a bull, just a shot more moderate maybe in terms of frame than the Lot 1 bull. Just really chock full of red meat. Really good on his feet and legs, sound pattern from a really, really good cow. That bull we actually own in partnership with Oak Ridge Angus. They bought him at the side of his dam last year through our sale. Mm-hmm. Tony came to me and he said, "Hey, I think this bull's okay. You want to come look at him?" And yeah, I'd say he was spot on. I appreciated the phone call because that's a really, really good calf there. He's been here ever since he came off the cow, right in with his contemporaries, and has matched up, been managed just like every other bull in the deal, and just really falls into that spot really, really well.
Couple bulls that we can talk about out of a bull that you talk about genomics and you talk about phenotype as well, and this guy's kind of making a storm.
He really is. That Exemplify bull was one we jumped out there and tried to sample a little bit to bring in a little bit different genetics out of that Confidence Plus bloodline that's been so popular and done really well in the genomic arenas there, and try to offer a few things, different for those customers that put a lot of emphasis on those EPDs and different things, have some cavities and some spread in there, along with some really, really good carcass and high dollar values to go along with it. At the same time, come back on some cow families that have just got a lot of good maternal doability into them and offer a little something different, a little fresh sire group,
Right. You wanted to talk to Lot 5.
Yeah, the Lot 5 bull, we didn't picture everybody, with him being just a little younger, being a February calf. But boy, this guy sure doesn't need skipped over. He would be a maternal brother to our high-selling bull and female both from last year, and that would be her natural calf from this year. And boy, he sure would be the most probably moderate-framed bull in the sale. But boy, you talk about one just chock full of red meat and muscle. And I tell you what, I'll take him all day long out of his mother. When we bought that cow from Steve Burke and Burke Beef Cattle there in Missouri is the high-selling bred heifer out of the Missouri Futurity there a few years back. Steve's comment to me was, "I don't think you're going to be wrong."
Right.
And boy, I tell you what, she hasn't missed a lick since she's been here, and just does her job. Those cows are fun to mate because you can take them whatever way you want to, and they just work.
Right.
She's sure been a great example of that.
Yeah, and if you're just listening and you're following along here on the Angus site there where these bulls are over here on the right side, blow that son of a gun up. We're going to have him up on the podcast video, but I was looking at his little picture, and then I blew him up. Holy cow. Joe, you got you a good one there.
We think he's sure got a lot of potential, that's for sure.
We try to bring new genetics into our herds, a lot of us, and especially some of us smaller breeders, and we try to go out and we try to find things and bring them in, and that kind of happened with this Lot 8 bull.
Yeah, he sure did. Lot 8 bull has a little bit of a story to him. We were actually the contending bidders on the 1695 Abigail cow when she sold there through an online sale of Tyler Copeland's down there in Arkansas. Weren't fortunate enough to get her, but happened to stumble across a set of embryos sired by her and some bull called Rain Dance.
Yeah.
And this Lot 8 bull and a full sister to him that we have retained in our replacement group were the result of that embryo purchase. And boy, they sure don't disappoint. You talk about one that's just rugged and square and thick made and really got kind of a unique look to him, real stock bull, herd bull look. Those 7, 8, 9 bulls down that page there, bulls are really just a lot of rancher type bulls, chock full of red meat, muscle, and ready to really go get it done.
Yeah, and don't let me skip anybody, but we talked about the Lot 12 here. We've got out of a full sister to abundance.
Absolutely. We would have purchased the dam of Lot 12 privately with Ron Rogers. That would be our partner on some of these cows. That'd be the SQR prefix on him there.
Mm-hmm.
That cow's done us an outstanding job. He would be one of the very top yearling bulls. We would have sold a maternal brother to him, sired by Emblem, through our sale last year. Would have been a sale feature here. Just lays down and does a good job every time. If we could get her to have a heifer, that'd sure be a unique deal. She's blessed us with 3 bulls in a row, but boy, they've always been some of the high indexing, high ratio and bulls of their contemporary group every time.
Mm-hmm. Skip down a little, Lot 14, we got a territory.
You bet. That territory sire group was a bull we came across after going through Schaff Angus Valley out there a couple years ago. Got to see territory and his mother. Mm-hmm. And that 3293 cow would be, in my estimation, one of the most impressive cows out there at SAV. And so we came back and tried to make some of those genetics back on some of those similar type of cows. And this guy we ran through when we did the BSEs on these bulls the other days. I mean, this guy's bumping up in that 1,800 pound range and just full of size and stretch and pounds to really, really put on a set of cows, and really leave a great set of daughters and things back through there for the commercial guy. And, there's just a lot of merit to be said to that. And you go lining up things like 3293 and 2397 right up there at the front of that pedigree.
Right.
For those followers of that SAV program, that kind of gets to be in a who's who pretty quick.
Right. I was going to mention that. Yeah, if you couldn't do it somewhere else, you sure went back and went right with the Schaff on that one and made them very similar to what those guys are doing.
You bet.
17.
17's a bull. He would be the leadoff bull out of our sire group, out of our way up 6236 bull. He actually has the distinction of being flush brother to Turning Point there at Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
Bull's just done us an outstanding job. The 17 bull happens to be a maternal brother to one of our high-selling bulls from our 2020 sale. That cow really, really cranks them out. She's just one of those seed stocks that's super milky, gets it done every time. And everybody wants to look back on the bulls, and boy, you really fall back, and it really takes these good cows to get it done all the time. I guess I've always kind of been the one that thinks it takes it even maybe an even better, higher top-notch cow to really crank out these kind of bulls, maybe than what it does, depending on what a person's goals are to really get it done. And boy, as a sire group, we sure have been happy with a lot of these. We call him Rise Up around here, which would be the way up son there that we use. And he's 6 years old, still standing out here, and boy, just as sound as a dollar, looks like a 3-year-old, and just done us a really, really good job.
Right. And got another one in the 18 out of him as well.
Absolutely. 18 was a really, really good son, worked through there. His grand dam would be the third dam on the maternal side of his pedigree, would have actually been the $12,500 high-selling donor of one of our past sales to Schmitz out there in Iowa. Would have been that 8350 Winata cow. So just a lot of cow power wound up in that guy there as well.
Right. And then we continue on with those bulls, with sons of that bull there in the next page, 1920, and then we get a little bit of different flavor in there.
Exactly. We kind of started into this little bit of a Sim Angus program here. We got to the point we were getting several customers and several of our folks using our genetics that were rotating, a percentage Simmental bull or a Charolais bull or a Red Angus bull, depending on their numbers and what their goals were. And, we just started incorporating some of those, and they've been really well received, as long as we've stuck to keeping the cavities in line and really good looking and a lot of functionality in those Sim Angus bulls. We've had very good rapport from our customers on those, and look to really continue kind of doing that just to give those guys an option, when they get to working through their seed stock suppliers, if they can go get those bulls from the same place and how they're used to being managed, seems to me like that would be pretty advantageous for them. And it's kind of proved out that way so far.
Right. Before we get into these females, I've skipped over it, and I apologize for that. We were going to talk a little bit about feeding these bulls and how do you develop these bulls and get these bulls ready, because I think you guys have a little bit of different feeding philosophy and different way to raise these bulls.
Sure. These bulls are pretty well on a very, very high roughage ration with some silage in there and a grain top dress deal. They're not running on a self feeder. We're trying to keep the feed in these guys and not get them so fat that they're not going to be able to hold up to this. I mean, let's face it, we're down here in fescue country, and
Right.
it gets a little ugly from June to September down this way.
Right.
Just does, and that's a lot of the reason we've offered and kind of encouraged guys to go ahead and utilize that program and let us kind of get them backed off a little bit. Everybody likes to look at one that's ready to go and 12 o'clock sale day. And when we're selling them, you've got to have them ready to go that way. But, especially with these younger yearling bulls, you got to really kind of take care of them and hopefully the guys that buy them from us, those folks will be happy and be repeat customers. And they're sure not going to do that if those things aren't holding up from a standpoint of fertility and feet and legs and soundness. So we just try to make every effort we can to ensure that, no matter what, things are going to happen, and when they do, you sure try to make it as right as you can for the customer. But, sure, we could make them way more, but, when we're getting those fall bulls up in that 1,800 range, and those fall bulls have been on a lot of wet wrap hay, a little bit of grain ration, kind of keeping that forage intake up to try to shoot in that, 3-pound weight per day of age range, and trying to get in that 3.5 to 4 range or so on the yearlings. But yet at the same time, try to keep that longevity and functionality built into them as well.
Right. Who do you guys use for feed?
We use a pretty good program. We've been very fortunate. I met a fellow by the name of David Newsom back when I was in college. And of course, many of you know, David's went up the ranks with Purina Corporation and through those transitions over the years. And David's worked very close with us when we started building a lot of these rations and doing things, and sure been a very good resource for us over the years with that. So we do a lot of those through Purina, through our local dealers here at South Central FS here, located in Newton, just to the west of us, predominantly for a lot of our feed needs. And then we work a lot of our mineral program through Tracer Minerals and K&S through Prescott Livestock Consulting there in Missouri. And then through, in turn, they're getting them to us through the retail storefront there at Early Bird Nutrition up there also on our mineral and protein kind of needs on that side of it. We just kind of try to find a mix that works really well for us that hopefully we end up with a very long-term product that's put together as well as we can put them together as far as a building process.
Right. Right, and us guys in the southern part of the state, we've got like you mentioned the fescue, which is a little different than the guys up north that may come down and get some of those.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, we try to keep that in mind and get those things out there. These younger bulls and talking about them, they're still trying to grow and be teenagers, too, when they're out there trying to do what we're asking them to do. And boy, you really just got to take care of them to get them to hold up and keep things going long term so that they can contribute for a number of years. And that the goal is not to sell you one and have to sell you another one next year. We'd sure like to, but
Right.
we don't want to have to do that because you didn't have good luck with the one before.
Right, exactly. We've talked a lot of bull power here, and a really stout, nice set of bulls that you've got for the offering here on March 27th. But, boy, you've got some females in this thing as well that we need to hit on.
Sure do, Andy. We really tried to dig in deep every year as far as the females go. There's not a lot of what I would call really elite kind of females a lot of times offered, in the spring. A lot of it's just bull, because that's where a lot of guys' mentality's at. But, being a smaller breeder, about the only way we can make these kind of deals work is to offer them both at the same time.
Right.
To kind of get things to work. And we sure try to dig in with a lot of these females and really offer some value there to whether you're a purebred breeder or a commercial man, really have something there to kind of cover all the bases.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start in. You ready to talk some of them?
Yeah, you bet.
Sure.
This lot 23 donor, of course, she would be the dam of the lot 14 territory bull that we touched on earlier. And this would be our second group of ETs coming out of her with the renovations. That was sure one of the more well-received sire groups out there at Kelly's in 2021. And, renovation would have been the bull that sold to CMEX up there in Canada. Just really caught a lot of attention and the popularity of those cattle. And, this 4497 donor, sure from a standpoint of length and dimension and power and doability, really kind of checks all those boxes. So we we're pretty excited about this mating back on her, and have some daughters on her out of the ground, and be able to allow us to offer this opportunity. You know, we hope that these things work, but that cow's done well for us, average 10 to 12 eggs a flush, and just kind of sits there and does a lot of things right. So that's kind of how we came about offering this opportunity on a heifer pregnancy on her, and just a lot of long range, long-term shelf life and earning potential there in that mating.
Right. Yeah. Let's jump over to the 25.
You bet. You know, we get into that 25. Of course, the heifer there pictured on the top of the page really had a lot of friends last year. She would have been our high-selling heifer to Encore Genetics down there in Texas. And, you know, this 25 heifer calf here would be a fall heifer calf, and really just a lot of similarities to her big sister. Does a really, really nice job. You know, of course, just being a fall baby, she's young and got a lot of future ahead of her.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just really super confident in the consistency and the cow power behind her in the 14 donor, and with what the full sister did last year. And Encore actually took the full sister last year and flushed her as a virgin heifer, and have got 10 to 15 babies on the ground turned around already back out of that female.
Neat.
So she's worked really, really well for them, and we're sure grateful for that opportunity to work with them on her. And, you know, just really thought, well, as many friends as that one had, and with the popularity and the consistency there, we'd sure come back and try to offer another full sister that kind of goes in the same mold.
Right. Yeah. The lot 26, you offered her mother.
We sure did. We would have sold her mother to Williams Angus up here just to the north of us last year as one of the high-selling pairs through our sale. And, boy, this territory daughter, just her picture is exactly her.
Mm-hmm.
I sent that to a friend of mine after we got it. That was one of the first pictures Adam sent me. And I said, well, what in the world did you pick that thing for? And that's her to a T.
Right.
Just a lot of maternal ability built into her, and just super Angus breed character, and really, really milky kind of female that's sure looks to add a lot of value to any program, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, and you can see the picture is the video, because just pop on that video if you're not watching podcast video.
You bet.
That's her. She's sweet. Nice looking female there.
That's for sure.
We got a heck of a heifer calf here on the 27.
You bet. That 27 would be another one of those territory daughters that we've got 2 or 3 of them here in the sale, and we've got 2 or 3 that we kept back. And, boy, every one of them, you know, here is good young 2-year-olds, which, you know, a lot of guys won't offer those 2-year-olds. But,
right.
You know, as a function of having these sales over the years, you get into some things, and hopefully, you know, of course, we're not selling anything just because we want to sell them. You know, we got to move these things on and make the program work. They're not in the sale just because you want them to go somewhere else. They're in a sale to bring some value to the potential customers and partners with those. And, boy, this girl sure really gets it done. She's got one heck of a little rain dance heifer calf, sure as square and thick as you could make one. That looks like she's going to have a lot of longevity built into her as well.
Right. Yeah, and watch her video. Check out the udder. Check out the look she's got as the first calf. That's super.
You bet.
Super good. The lot 28. We got an iconic heifer calf.
Yep, that iconic heifer calf on side the 28. You know, these 1682 daughters, there's a pair of them here in the sale in 28 and 30, you know, as 2 and 3-year-olds. And, you know, we tried those iconics, and boy, they've sure caught our attention. We're going to follow back up with him and plan on using him again here this year, and just think that offers a pretty unique pedigree. And, you know, if somebody follows that cow family all the way back there in the 28, that'd go back to the SAV Lucy 2002, which would be the mother of a bull called Final Answer that I think we've all heard a little bit about over the last couple decades.
Yeah, if you haven't, I don't know if you've been in the Angus business, I guess.
Exactly. But, you know, again, I'm probably sounding like a broken record, but those cow families are really where it's at for us, and we've really tried to concentrate on those, and we feel like it serves pretty well.
Right. Well, let's stay on that broken record of talking about great cow families, because we go to the 29 and we got a Georgina.
So the grandmother of the lot 29 cow would have been 4504. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we actually followed that cow around a little bit. We tried to buy her from Champion Hill as an open heifer. Didn't have any luck there, and actually were able to buy her back through a production sale at Werner Angus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, we bought that cow, and she had never been flushed, and brought her down here. And the cow we would have now that would rival her in terms of production and consistency, of course, would be the Berk's Forever Lady cow. But boy, 4504 was just one that would sit there and be 8 to 10 to 12 embryos, and you'd get 80% of those to stick. And whether you had bulls or females, you sure had something marketable every time. Boy, she's sure well served here to come through. A lot of those Saugahatchees back on those Georginas were like their own breed of cattle, back in the day. Just a lot of really unique attributes and characteristics there that sure stood the test of time. And, every year we put a Georgina in the sale, that'll always, year in and year out, be one of the most popular ones there. People just know them, and well so, just build on their reputation.
Yeah, anywhere. Those Georginas are very popular and sought after still.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, don't let me skip over too far, but do we want to go to the 34 cow?
Sure. Yep, you bet. We can go right to that 34 cow. And we talked about with having a lot of these sales and doing things, that 15 model cow there in 1502 would be the oldest cow in the sale. But, boy, she sure gets it done, and actually laid down. We didn't talk about this, Andy. She actually laid down and had a renovation heifer calf.
Oh, wow.
So she's got that heifer baby right there beside her, and boy, just big, stout cow. This cow's actually produced a lot one bull for us in the past, and some other high sellers through there. And this cow family that originated from Dave Gibb was actually one of our first purchases back 22 years ago, to be exact, through the Illinois Futurity. And that would have been the grandmother of this cow there in the 1218. And that's sure been one that's been very good to us. We haven't turned loose of very many daughters out of this Miss Erica cow family. And, they may not be the household name like a few of these others, but they sure are around here, and they've darn sure earned it.
Right. Will you tell that story of the 1218?
So the 1218 cow, I talked about the Hall of Fame and in talking to them, and, Dad and I went up there to the Futurity that year, and, like we all do, we got stars and fireworks and check marks and all this stuff. Boy, that bred heifer's really good. And, we thought we were going to get that. The girl bought there, and we had agreed to a figure, and, well, we blew well past that figure and got it done, and drove home 3.5 hours and wondered what in the world we had done. And so did my soon-to-be wife at the time, and my mother, if I recall, when we pulled back in. But I tell you what, the relationship we built with Dave and things over the years there, and working through that, and the productivity and the longevity and the fertility of that cow family has more than spoke for itself. And I tell you what, we go back, and those are the kind you can buy every day, and they'll make you money all day long.
Right. And we don't have to talk the figures, but you guys, as you said, what in the world we get into? And so you bought her for X amount, and here she was just shy of that on her first calf that you guys turned around and sold.
She laid down and had a bull calf the first time and paid for 3/4 of herself right off the bat. So at that point, 2 years later, you could kind of exhale and knew it was all going to be okay. So
right. Maybe we did do something okay here.
You got it.
Those are always fun when those work out that way.
We've all been guilty of doing that. Well, we're going to quit right about here. Well, right about seemed to get a little fuzzier as we got a little closer to it. So, yeah. But haven't regretted it a day.
Right. Those are the good ones. So
you bet.
Let's talk about these two bulls on the back just real quick before we wrap this thing up. We've got the Stevenson Way Up, which you talked about a little bit earlier. That there's progeny out of.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've collected that bull quite a bit, and Stevenson's and Conley still own an interest in him. Kyle actually purchased him out of Stevenson's sale as a yearling. The same year that Turning Point sold out there, and he actually ended up with pasture rights on Turning Point, and turned around and sold this guy through his sale. And good friend Jeremy Haig was managing Kyle's sale, and gave me a call, and after several videos and chats and texts and things like that, while we were able to get him bought through there, and boy, sure haven't regretted it any day since. He's been a really valuable attribute for our program, that's for sure.
We did a podcast with Lorenzens and Adam here back in the fall, and so you guys sold this bull, and you guys still have a lot of connections with him.
You bet. Yep. So 2006 would have been the lot one. And as it worked out, high selling bull last year from the sale. And boy, Adam came down before the sale and was really wanting one to really put a shot of stoutness and power and shape and muscle into their cow herd. And just, I think we walked around looking for a bull and looking at bulls for about an hour. And he might have spent 52 minutes out of that hour looking at that bull. I'm not real sure. But he sure latched onto him and then brought Steve and some of the other guys down to the sale. And boy, we were sure fortunate. Got him used and really tied into that deal there. And they were great enough to work with us. We actually kept some interest in the bull and turned him out on our heifers and used him natural service. There's a couple of these good young 2-year-olds have some of the first progeny at their side by him. Boy, they sure put him to work up there. They're going to have 30-some babies on the ground this spring, and turned around and turned him right back out, and he's just came back in running on fall cows now. So they've been really, really high on him, and these first set of calves look to be really outstanding, and just really looking forward to what might come ahead with this guy. He's sure been a lot of fun to this point, no doubt.
Right. Well, that's great that you guys keep working together on that, and they're really happy and gone into their program and had some success, because that's what happens when you go to York Farms and buy good bulls.
Well, I appreciate that, Andy. It's like we talked about. You try to have something a little diverse, because a lot of guys, need to add a Cavanese bull or need to add some power and some grow and in different packages, and if we're doing our job, you kind of have a little bit of that to offer for everybody. And the main thing is everybody get the right one for them. And boy, that 2006 bull sure has worked out well for Adam and Steve and those guys up there, and we sure appreciate all that. That's for sure.
Right. Joel, anything else we need to know about these cattle, about these bulls, about the program, anything like that?
Oh, we sure just look forward to seeing everybody on March the 27th, and sure hope if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. And nobody's harder on any of our cattle than we are on our own. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all that way. We're going to tell you straight up like it is, and want these cattle to go on and be profitable investments for everybody, and look forward to building relationships that last and the longevity in there. And we sure stand behind them 110% and do the best we can, ensure these things within everything we can do.
I think that's great. I appreciate it. Joel, again, we want to invite everybody March 27th, and they can come. Now, they'll be ready the day before as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. These cattle, anybody feel free to come view these cattle anytime. Okay. Everything is lot tagged and ready to go. They're all right here, easy to view at any point. The cattle will be there at the sale site the day before and ready and pinned there on display sale day. All the cattle, I guess we could touch on that a little bit. It will be an entire video sale, but all the cattle will be right there at the sale site, easily to be viewed, all lot tagged and right there handy. And then, they'll all be on display there by 9 o'clock, as it says in the catalog. And we'll have a lunch there that we have a local gentleman that's participated in several national barbecue cook-offs, and he sure does an outstanding job for us. And he asks every year, would you like me to do that again? And our answer always is, well, you haven't figured out how to mess it up yet, so I guess we better try again. So we want everybody to come and have a good meal and enjoy their day and walk through those cattle and, just kind of be able to see them in a little more relaxed scenario than running them through a sale ring. And
right.
Sure want everybody to come visit with us and not hesitate to ask any questions they might have.
Right. And are you bragging that you're already ready for this sale, that you've got everybody there and
no, sir. That could not be much farther from the truth. But,
oh, okay.
There's only so much you can do ahead of time, right? There's got to be a lot of it left towards the last of it to get it all put together, and it sure takes a lot of help the last 3, 4, 5 days on getting everything done. And sure appreciate all those guys that come and work through things with us through the cattle and the prep. And, that's always goes unsaid way too much, but we sure appreciate all that too.
Right. Joel, man, it's been great visiting with you, and appreciate you getting a hold of us and getting this thing put together. And, man, I'm anxious to see what this sale does. And, how long does it take you to get to Louisville?
It's only 2 hours and a half, 2 hours and 45 minutes to Louisville up here. You're only 2 hours from Indianapolis, about 2.5 2:45 from Springfield and just 2.5 hours from St. Louis over.
Shoot, yeah.
So it's really pretty accessible. Just not a lot of interstates that drop you right here, but it's we always kind of joke it's about 2.5 hours to anywhere. So.
Right, right. Probably worth the barbecue and worth coming to see the cattle.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Joel, thank you very much for getting this put together. And again, guys, March 27th, Palestine, Illinois, the 9th annual production sale at York Farms. And Joel, appreciate it very much. And we want to thank you for listening to another edition of Before the Bid podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.